Welcome back to the Inside Track on Real Estate. I'm Ken
How
Decker.
can they come back when they haven't been here yet today?
All right, well, because they come every week to listen to our show, so I welcome them back.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us on the Inside Track. Even if this is your first time listening, you are more than welcome to be here with us, even if you're not coming back.
They will come back.
Okay. And I'm Yetta Decker.
And I'm Ken Decker.
Of the Decker team.
And today we're going to talk about a little bit about the past and a lot about what's happening now. As far as marketing homes has changed so much over the years, and I won't give away your age, but Yetta used to write offers on the hood of the car with carbon paper in between, and fax machines hadn't been invented yet.
Well, they weren't used in the industry yet. They were invented. I'm sure they existed, but they were certainly thermal paper.
Come on, you used a Selecta typewriter, an IBM Selecta, whatever, with the ball on it.
It wasn't manual.
No, it was electric. We had electricity then.
Yeah, exactly. So real estate has changed a lot in the last couple of decades.
Yes, because there used to be this thing called the MLS book, and it was like candy, because you only got one, and it came out, every month?
Every 2 weeks, I think.
And people were fighting over them because there was no MLS internet. There was no internet.
No.
And the only way to find properties that were for sale was to look through this book.
And in the daily sheets that came out.
The hot sheets.
So the hot sheets. I think the book was every 2 weeks, if my memory's correct. My memory's getting bad, obviously, too. And there were about a dozen little black and white pictures on every page with a very basic description of the property. And we weren't legally to be giving the books out.
No, those were the good old days.
Those were the good old, we weren't supposed to give them out to anybody. So if you were going to loan them to somebody, you had to kind of do it quietly. And you really couldn't afford to have it gone very long because there was one per realtor. That's all that was printed.
I know. And that was when cell phones were just coming out.
Yes.
And they were
weren't
about
out yet,
20
man.
pounds, and they carried them in a suitcase.
That's right. They were
with
huge.
a big handset with a curly cord.
Yep. It was awesome. And so in the last, that's only a couple of decades.
I know.
So it's kind of crazy.
You are dating yourself, though.
That's okay. I've been in the industry almost 25 years, so it's okay. I can do it. I started when I was really young. Anyway, so the industry has changed significantly since then.
Yes.
And nothing that we did then really, other than the fundamentals. The fundamentals have not changed. It's about representing your clients well. It's about honesty, integrity, and really treating people's properties and people's money like it were our own.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
That hasn't changed at all.
The sign hasn't changed on the lawn, except it has a few new things on it that we're going to talk about technology-wise.
Correct. So even the sign has changed. The premise of a sign has not changed.
No. And open houses where you actually get to meet people face-to-face, that hasn't changed. That's still a great part of the business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So print media.
Right.
Somewhat dead?
Well, print media is a very limited select audience today. And so there will still be opportunity for print media. We have a community newsletter. A newsletter, actually, it's not even so much, it's in several communities. It goes out to about 15,000 people now. And that particular publication, a few years ago, we decided it was time to go green with it and stop the hard copy distribution.
There was an outcry.
There was an outcry. Yeah. And so print media is not absolutely dead, as you might say. Its use is very limited. So community news still seems to be something that people like to get potentially both ways because it's more timely if you're getting it via an email, except we're so inundated with emails as a culture now that sometimes it's nice to have that hard copy. So that's been an amazing source for us for the last 20 odd years, actually, to promote our homes in. Because it's primarily community news, and then we have the opportunity to feature your properties in it.
Right.
And so that print is still
going.
A valuable piece of print.
And yet the newspapers and that sort of thing don't seem to have any pull anymore in comparison to the internet.
Correct.
Over 90% of people start their buying process on the internet because it's...
Even their selling process, doing research.
Yeah, they start the research process. And then at some point, they need to connect with us because they can't get into houses without us.
Right. And so the other piece of print that is still valuable today that we still utilize is a luxury magazine.
Yeah, for
So
the
for our
luxury end.
luxury market, and that's as much as anything, that's an international type publication that doesn't just go into Canada, and it's more of an awareness thing. Eventually, people go to the website. It just may be a tool that drives people to the website then. So there's isolated incidences where print media is still very valuable.
Yeah. So let's talk about, because we do a little bit of print media, but most of our print media advertising budget has been removed from that area, from the newspapers, the black and white newspapers and that sort of
And
thing.
even the color
And
home
color,
magazines.
color book and things. We've taken it from there and we've put those resources into several internet type marketing things. And so let's talk about those things that are to an advantage to our client. Because if you were a realtor 25 years ago and you didn't change with the business, you'd probably be out of the business because we're so technology driven now.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why we do have someone young and engaged in technology that's on the team with us.
Yeah, our
because
marketing specialist.
a marketing specialist, and she's fantastic. And how we'll often describe her introduction to not to real estate too, however, to the internet and all the social media and all that's involved, is she was really born into it. That's her native language. That's her
It's her native tongue.
native tongue.
For
And
us, it's a second or third language.
right, and we're really immigrants to technology.
Yes, we are.
So we've mastered the parts we need to do. We have iPhones, we have iPads, we have computers. I mean, we're certainly utilizing the technology that's in front of us. However, we're not programming our own websites.
No. We
And
hire
so-
people to do that.
Right, and our marketing specialist is fantastic at doing a lot of that. So from a marketing perspective, it has become very, very technology driven.
Yeah, and that's why our team can really promote a home significantly well, because we have in-house our marketing department, which is made up of one person, but it's our marketing department. And she is very technology wise and knows where to put things and how to get people to see it. Because the internet is a sea of information.
That's right.
And unless people are actually able to find it and it comes to the top of the searches and things, then it's of no value putting it out there, really.
So some of the specific things would be social media. So talk a little bit about how social media, that sounds like it shouldn't fit at all with real estate.
Well, social media has its place. And when I say social media, or when you say it, several things come to mind, like Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, all these different things. And there's a different way to communicate on all of them. And it would be like, we wouldn't advertise a house for sale on Facebook, because doing that is like standing up at a cocktail party and saying, hey, I'm in real estate. Do you want to buy from me? It's just not appropriate, and people will start defriending you.
Right.
So it's about...
We want you to still be our friend if you're our friend, and if you're not our friend yet on Facebook, you can like us.
Yes, you could. You could
Decker
friend us.
Team on Facebook.
Yeah, Yetta Decker or Ken Decker, look us up. We're on there all over the place. And it's just a way of connecting socially. And the odd time we might say, hey, you know what? Doing an open house this Sunday on a house with a great pool. Let's have a pool party. I don't think the seller would mind, do you? And you just create some fun there.
Yeah.
And then that's socially acceptable.
Right. And
So-
it's kind of fun because it gets the information out. You may start thinking about a property that you hadn't otherwise thought of just because it was socially conversed about.
And then there's different ways of, using Twitter to the advantage of us for marketing and finding people who are looking to buy houses. Because really what we're
properties that
doing
we
is
have for
matching.
sale,
Yeah,
right.
we're matching buyers and sellers. That's our business. We're matchmakers. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. And I'm a
Okay.
terrible singer, so let's go on
It
with
was
real
better
estate.
you did it than me, though.
I'm a better real estate person than a singer. So using Twitter, using our web presence, multiple websites, getting them high up in the search engine, we call it SEO, search engine optimization. And you do that by putting fresh content in there, putting videos, putting pictures, changing it, and having people going there, and it just builds on itself so that they're called spiders. And there's another word, I forget the new word. There's a new word for something. Google keeps, as soon as you figure out Google, they change their matrix so you can't figure it
We
out.
don't have to figure it out. So we have
No, we
someone
have
else
people
that
that do
figures it
that
out.
stuff. Yeah, so it's
exactly.
very exciting. It's a fun industry that we can get our homes out there. One of the things that we do very well is we syndicate. So when we put a property up for sale, we're also going to put it on what we call KWLS, which is Keller Williams Listing Service. We have 80,000 realtors in North America, all putting houses on there. So there's a big demand for that pool of information. And then that
Well, it's one of the
syndicates.
largest in the world as far as a real estate syndication.
Mm-hmm. So then that syndicates out to about 250 different websites.
Actually, it's 350.
350?
It's ever growing.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
And what happens then is when someone, if you Google your address after being us marketing your home for a couple weeks, you'll find that the first couple pages of Google is website after website after website that your property is on. And that's a great thing because we need it out there on a lot of websites because there's such a sea of information. We have to have cast a broad net. So
Well,
to
and the
speak.
reason we need to cast a broad net is so that we can find the perfect buyer for your home,
Exactly.
right? And that's really the one that's prepared to pay a compelling price and prepared to work with the terms that you are looking for.
Yeah.
So if we don't promote your property and attract the right buyer, we may not get the right terms and price.
Yeah, and marketing's all about catching someone's eye, getting their attention. Kijiji is another new kind of
Well,
way
it's not
of,
that new anymore.
well, relative to you, honey.
Thanks.
It's new. So it's new on the market in the last,
not
the last
new.
5 or 6 years.
All right.
And if you put an ad up on there, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, blah, 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 it's boring, boring, boring. People
It sounds like everything else.
they just scoot right by it. But if you put something like, 3-car garage comes with a free house or something to just draw their attention, then you'll get some click-throughs and they'll be interested in what's there. And that's what the kind of things that our marketing department does for us.
Right, exactly. Some people will ask, do you still use MLS? And of course we still use MLS. That's just a standard foundational tool that we utilize.
Yeah, it's one of the tools.
Yeah.
It's not the only one to get a home sold, but it's
no,
a good one.
by any stretch. Okay.
So other things, YouTube.
Yes.
YouTube is almost watched more than TV is now.
I know.
Yeah, so we have a channel.
Who knew?
We have a Decker Team channel.
Well, of course we do.
And people watch our channel.
I know.
Isn't
that's
that
great.
fun? And we put all our videos of houses on there and things like that. And on our website, you can watch these videos of our talk on real estate and how it's changed and what's new and what's happening, market updates, and all kinds of stuff
Yes.
on these videos. So some of the other thing, we talked about the sign. The sign's pretty similar, but it's changed. And the reason it's changed, we used to screw on these little boxes and put pieces of paper in there, and the kids would take them out, and we had no way of who took them or whether we go, wow, people are really interested in this house because all the sheets are gone. And who do we know that they're all making them into airplanes or something, kids.
So that was called an information box.
Yes. So now we've graduated to text riders. And a text rider is simply a rider we put on top of the sign. It has a text number and a number to text. If you're a texty person, you'll understand what I just said. So you text a certain number to a number, and then back comes the information on the house, the price, pictures, a link to a website so you can see multiple pictures, and a link you can push a button and connect with us right away.
Yep.
So what a great method of connecting with the realtor on a particular property.
Right.
QR codes are those funny little boxes that people scan and then takes them directly to our website or to a highlight sheet on a property. So we do that
A property
kind of thing.
brochure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So we're even just about to launch a branded application for the Decker Team so that people, when they're out looking at houses, can actually see the house and see other houses around. And very cool thing.
Yeah. So it is forever changing.
Yeah, technology is moving at the speed of light.
Well, no, at the speed of technology.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us now, this is the Inside Track with the Decker Team, and we're talking about real estate as we always do. And today we've been talking about the marketing of homes and what has changed over the past well, years, and certainly since I began in the industry. So if you want to hear all Ken's bad jokes about how old I am and how long I've been in the industry, go on back to the first section. If not, stay tuned and we'll talk a little bit more about the changes in the industry from a technology and a marketing perspective. What is going on today and what ought you to really demand today if you're a seller?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great thing, demand. Yeah, the demands have gone up. The demands are gone up. And you know what's interesting is, I'll take a little piggy trail, is we are going all over Canada and the US looking for ways of improving our service for our clients. You know, some realtors might think that their competition is another realtor or another real estate company. We believe our competition is
The Ritz-Carlton.
the Ritz-Carlton.
Starbucks,
yes. So Starbucks has a nice little booklet that they carry around that tells them, you know, their values and that sort of thing. And the Decker team has created that very same thing for our values. The book
which came out of the idea from Starbucks. And so because they are our way of seeing how to do things better, all kinds of other industries, the best in each industry is really our competition.
Yes.
Because that's the level of service you come to expect.
Yeah, so we're doing work there. We're presently reading a book called Clients First.
Yeah.
Very interesting book. We've even signed up with John Maxwell. He's personally mentoring us in our business.
And if you don't know who John Maxwell is,
look behind us. There's lots of John Maxwell books.
Lots of books on the shelf. And he is an author that's written about 73 books now, and mostly on leadership and principles related to leadership.
And relationship.
And so he's somebody that, he was a pastor for many years and then decided that he would be able to reach a much broader audience and help a lot more people if he took his books into the world. And he has all kinds of neat charitable organizations as well.
Yeah. So we're spending time growing ourselves as people, as leaders, as business owners, and as service providers for our clients. And there are 2,900 realtors in the Ottawa Real Estate Board. So we recognize that you have a choice. You know, I love that when I'm on the airplane and they're just about to pull out and they say, "Thanks for flying with us. We know that you have a choice in which airline to fly with." And so, you know, like WestJet's another one of those companies that, because they're a profit-sharing kind of company, each employee is a stakeholder, and they want to make sure that your trip is good.
Yeah.
You know, so knowing that is what we're attempting and working towards is the best customer client service that we can absolutely provide you. And so, you know, there's 2,900 realtors out there, but we say, give us a try. Call us at 613-860-4663. Operators are standing by.
He cracks me up. I bet he cracks you up too. So back on to realtors. As far as the shift in the market, because that's a change that has affected, maybe not technology, however, it's changed how we do real estate. So from a shift in the market, we're in a much more stable market, less increasing market currently. And so the tools and the skills and what's required has shifted even in that area. And we're fortunate, I guess, that back in the 90s when we had our last shift in the market, we were in the industry. And there's only a few hundred, maybe up to 600 or 700 of the 2,900 of us realtors that have ever lived that before.
Yep. And so know how to market in that market.
Yeah, because it is another change. Yeah.
So the speed at which real estate happens has really intensified. Because back when you didn't have fax machines and there wasn't email, you had to get in your little car and drive to the client's house and then drive to the other client's house, negotiate the offer back and forth. Things were much, much slower paced.
Well, and not only did it take longer, we had to start with generally 6 copies of the agreement of purchase and sale.
Yes.
And so that's why carbon paper was actually the most prized possession of a realtor if you were going to have to handwrite an agreement.
And it was messy if you
It
got
was
it
very
on you.
messy. It would just get all over the place. Anyway, and if you did type it on a Selectric typewriter, then you still had to photocopy it, and so you'd have 6 copies. And every
They
agreement,
had photocopies back then?
yeah, they did.
Nice.
Every agreement, every of those 6 copies had to be signed, and so there was a real necessity to look at the details of what you were signing, because if it was different on one copy than the other copy, which
a
one
problem.
became the true copy?
Yeah, you had a problem.
And so you had 6 duplicates of the very same. So even that process took an hour or longer just to sit down and sign what we would now sign as one piece of paper. So the consultation part of it and then the educational part hasn't shifted at all. We still prefer to sit down with our sellers and our buyers when we do the initial presentation or the initial preparation of the offer. Don't like to do it and just email it to you, because there's a lot of questions and there's things that get missed when you're not face to face.
Yep, definitely.
Right, so that certainly for us has not changed, although in the industry, I think as a whole that has changed.
Yeah, the other thing that has happened is your expectations of how quickly we respond has gone through the roof. In the past, it used to be, well, if a realtor called you back in a day, you were happy. If they called you back at all, you were happy. Now it's, if you make a phone call, you kind of want to be called back within an hour or so. Preferably, you get them right on the phone when you call them. Yeah. And also, the other thing that's really sped things up is text messages and emails require much faster response times, and that's one of the reasons we have a client care coordinator who makes sure she's near a computer, because we're out on the road. We're showing properties, we're negotiating houses, we're recording radio shows, doing all kinds of things, but we don't want our clients to feel neglected in any way. So we make sure that we have staff that are available by a computer to return an email fairly quickly. We respond to text messages quite quickly. There'll be the odd time where we're in with a seller or a buyer, and then we leave their phone in the car, because it's important to us that when we're with you, we're present with you, and you're getting 100% of our focus.
Right, rather than distracted.
But still,
by
the speed
the
at
phone.
which the expectation of a response has gone up significantly with technology.
Immediate is really the expectation today. If you send me a text message, ideally you want me responding now, not in 5 minutes.
Yes. And the nice thing is that for our sellers and our buyers, a process that used to take 2-3 days to negotiate an offer still could, but most of the time it's done in a couple hours, and the anxiety of that negotiation process goes down significantly when you can get it done.
Right, because although
quicker.
we're generally meeting with you, our client, the rest of the interaction with the other realtor is generally done via email or fax. And that used to be leaving your home and then driving, or leaving our office, depending on where we met, and then driving to where they were, and then they're driving to where they need to go, meeting with their client, and then driving back to meet you, and that could literally take several days. Whereas now we're meeting with you, and then the rest of it is generally done via electronic
And
means.
we love that face-to-face, because
do.
we don't want people to become a number. You're not a number to us. You are a family, that has a need to buy or sell. You have a lifestyle you want to maintain or create, and we really want to understand that and be your resource for that information.
Well, around anything to do with real estate. And in fact, beyond the real estate aspect of it, we are quite happy to be a resource for any sort of contact that you would need, both for home services and even personal services.
Well, this has been a hoot. And you know what? Hootsuite is part of Twitter, if you know anything about Twitter.
Yes, we do.
And I wouldn't call you a tweet. But at any rate,
My
what you
goodness.
are going to do is
Okay,
going to
folks,
talk
I
to
think
us.
this is too
You're
much.
going to talk to us about one lovely property
Right.
in Kemptville, because
Okay.
we're nearing the end of our show, and we'd love to hear about this lovely property that we have for sale in Kemptville.
Okay. It's a single-family home, and it is in the town of Kemptville. It is listed for $270,000 for a single-family home. So comparable price range to a smaller townhome in the suburban areas. So certainly if you're thinking, do I want more space inside and outside, or, Yeah, if you want a neat country lot, very charming. It's charming inside, it's charming outside. The lot is quite picturesque and off the beaten track just enough that you don't get all the noise and congestion, and yet close enough that it's an easy commute into the city.
But what I want to know is, does it have a big garage for all my toys?
It has an oversized single garage with an access into the lower level.
Oh, so I can drag my wood and stuff in through the...
Yeah, you could if you wanted to have a wood stove or that kind of
I was
thing there.
thinking more like a, like a place to cut wood and,
Oh, yes. You
and
could
make furniture and stuff
definitely
like
do that. And it's been nicely updated. The hardwood floor is on the entire main level and on the stairs. And then upstairs in the bedrooms, which is 3 bedrooms there is laminate flooring. And then there's a good-sized games room in the lower level as well. The kitchen and the bathrooms have been refurbished, updated some, and they're quite nice. And lots of space there. So for $270,000 single-family
Sounds
home.
fabulous. Where would I go to see pictures?
Oh, DeckerTeam.com.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's baiting me now. Anyway, if you'd like to see the video, because he barely touched on the whole idea of the video. And we do have property videos on all of our properties, and we have a little 30 to 45-second video trailer that gives you a taste of what the property is. And then if you'd like to see the whole thing, then you can register and see 2 to 4 minutes, a more detailed property video on each of our properties as well, including this one.
That's awesome.
I know.
This paid announcement has been brought to you by the Decker team. We're so glad you joined us. We have had fun today. And
we always have fun.
Yes, we do.
When we're
We've had
connecting with you.
extra fun today. And
why was that, Ken?
I don't know, just in that mood. So if you want to send us in a question, we'd love to answer your question.
You're talking to them, not me.
Yes, I know. We'd like to answer your question. So feel free to give us a call at 613-860-4663, or you can email it to deckerteam@chri.ca, and we'd love to answer it, both on air and in person. And so that's a wrap for today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, and we're happy you did.
Touchdown.
What you wanna do?